You know, when we do these deep dives, we're usually looking at something flashy, a new display, a giant server rack, something that just, screams future.
Sure.
But today we're looking at this little black metal box. It's about the size of a deck of cards.
It's incredibly unassuming. You'd walk right past it.
But looking at the specs, Key Digital sent over for this, the KD CX800, that boring exterior is. Well, it's basically camouflage.
It is.
So our mission today is to figure out how this control interface is acting as a kind of universal translator for AD systems.
That's the perfect way to put it.
It claims to solve that nightmare scenario where you have 20 different devices from different eras all needing to talk across one IP network.
And that's really the core value here. Everything's moving to AV over IP, right? But you still have projectors that need RS-232.
Or old screens that only respond to an infrared remote.
Exactly. This little box, the CX800, it's the bridge. It gets those legacy signals onto the modern network.
So let's start with the hardware, because that's where the flexibility seems to live. You flip it around, you've got these 3 multifunction ports.
And multifunction is doing a lot of work in that description.
It really is.
I mean, most gear, a port does one thing. Here, those 3 connections, they're agnostic.
So you can configure them for, what, bidirectional RS-232?
Yep. Or you can set them up as IR emitters to blast a signal out, or as sensors to read a signal in.
Okay, but this was the part that really got me, voltage triggers.
Right, which is huge.
Because that feels like ancient history. We're not just talking about changing a channel, we're talking about sensing if a physical wall has moved.
Or triggering a motorized screen to drop just based on a voltage spike. And because it runs on PoE power over Ethernet.
You're not hunting for a wall outlet in the ceiling.
Not at all. You just run a single network cable to the switch and you're live. Power and data.
So the hardware is a blank slate, but the software seems to define its actual role. The documentation talks about this chameleon quality.
It has 4 distinct modes.
And they seem to be for completely different users. Let's break those down.
Okay, so mode 1 is what they call enterprise gateway. This is for your big commercial jobs.
So if you're running a massive Crestron or AMX system.
Exactly. This box just sits on the network, takes commands from that third-party controller, and translates them for the AV over IP system. It's a diplomat.
A diplomat. I like that. But
Yeah.
then mode 2 seems to just get rid of the diplomat.
It does. That's compass control mode.
Right.
This turns the CX800 into the master controller itself. You don't need that external brain.
So you just use Key Digital's own app on an iPad or something?
Yeah, the Compass and Navigator program.
Yeah.
The tablet talks to the box, and the box talks to all the gear. It even has a built-in IR learner.
So you can literally point an old remote at it, teach it the codes, and suddenly your iPad is controlling some 10-year-old Blu-ray player.
All over the network.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to mode 3, the open API. This feels like it's aimed squarely at developers.
It is. This is for when you have the coding chops. It lets you write your own apps to talk to the ports directly.
So if you just need a reliable way to send one serial command from a custom dashboard without buying a whole proprietary processor.
That's the perfect use case. It's a very cost-effective way to expand a system.
Okay, now, mode 4. I think this is the most practical one. The extender mode.
The distance killer.
Right. This isn't about processing commands. It's just extending them.
It takes those physical signals, IR, RS-232, voltage digitizes them and just shoots them over the LAN. Key Digital rates it for 400 feet.
That's massive. You could have a sensor on a loading dock and the controller in a server room on the other side of the building.
And that's just point to point. If you go through network switches, you can go even further.
So why should you, the listener, really care about this? It feels like the industry is trying to push us away from these legacy ports.
Because the reality of infrastructure is that legacy lasts a long, long time.
You don't rip out a $20,000 projector just because it uses a serial port.
Absolutely not. This device matters because it bridges that gap. You keep the perfectly good heavy equipment, but upgrade the control backbone to IP.
You're making dumb devices smart again.
In a nutshell, yes.
It brings up a really interesting thought, though. We're seeing a device that treats a physical voltage, trigger a literal on-off switch, as just another packet of data. If we can route a light switch over an IP network that easily, are we moving to a future where building automation is entirely software-defined?
It certainly feels that way.
I mean, where flipping a switch in one city could trigger a lock in another just because it's all one big network.
That seems to be exactly where we're heading. It opens up possibilities far beyond just AV.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us.